Namaskar friends, welcome to session 30 in our course on processing of polymers and polymer composites. We have started our discussion on the secondary processing of polymers as well as polymer composites, and we have seen that what is the need of secondary processing, as well as we have tried to understand that what are the intricacies or challenges as well as issues involved in secondary processing. We have also seen that how the different joining techniques can be classified. Now, just to revise our last session, we have seen the joining of polymer composites, in which we have tried to understand that the first type of joining, that is the most commonly used joining technique, is the adhesive joining. Then we have tried to understand the mechanical fastening, and we have seen that both have their own challenges. And the third one which overcomes the challenges is the fusion bonding technique. And in fusion bonding technique, there are three major processes or techniques that are used. In fusion bonding, there was a large classification diagram. If you see, in three types of welding or three types of joining strategies are there, and then with subcategories there are other strategies. But majorly we have seen the three types, that is the microwave joining, the resistance welding or resistance joining, as well as the induction bonding technique or induction heating method. So, all these three, the microwave, the resistance as well as induction, helps us to form a fused joint or a fusion joint between the two polymer substrates or the two composite materials adherents. So, basically there are large types of manufacturing processes falling under the joining techniques that can be used for joining of polymers and polymer based composites, but they vary because of the type of the adhesive, the type of the adherent, the type of the joint, the type or the viscosity of the adhesive. So, there are number of parameters that have to be taken into account when you are talking of joining the two materials or two adherents which are polymer based, which are polymer based composites. So, we need to understand that what are these processes in detail. In previous session, we just had an overview of the bonding mechanisms, especially in case of fusion based joints, and we have seen the basic schematic diagrams of the microwave joining process. We have tried to understand the joining of resistance welding technique. We have seen the mechanism of the induction welding technique, so or induction joining of polymer based composites. So, I have told in the previous session that we will be discussing each of these techniques in relatively more depth and detail in our subsequent sessions, and today we will discuss adhesive joining, which is one of the most important joining techniques for polymers or plastics as well as fiber reinforced plastics or polymer matrix composites. So, adhesive joining is a very important technique, and how it compares with the mechanical fastening we will try to see towards the end of today's session, that what are the advantages, what are the limitations of the adhesive joining technique. We will try to see that what are the different types of joint configurations that we can adopt in adhesive joining technique, and we will see that what are the various bonding mechanisms that can be used or that have been outlined for bonding between the two substrates or the adherents together. So, adhesive joining is one of the most commonly used, widely practiced method of joining of polymers as well as polymer based composites, and that is the topic of our discussion today. Let us start the discussion. This is the adhesive joining. You can see the diagram has already been explained in the previous sessions. You can see that adherent are, this is adherent 1, this is adherent 2. So, the two adherents are the materials that have to be joined together, or the welded parts or parts to be welded or joined together. So, we should not use the word welded, because here we are going to use additional adhesive in between, and this process is a adhesive joining process. So, these are the two adherents which have to be joined together, not welded together, and this is the adhesive, yellow color adhesive which is applied between the two adherents to join them together. And this is in the previous sessions I have been giving an example like this. So here we have tried to highlight that what is actually the overlap length. I have told this is the overlap length, this is adherent 1, this is adherent 2, this is the overlap length between the adherent 1 and the adherent 2, and here this overlap length has been explained or shown schematically. So this is the overlap length. So adhesive joining, here you can see adhesive joining is a permanent type of joining technique. So it is permanent means that once the joint has been made, you cannot disassemble, only you can break the joint to get your two adherents back. Material on which adhesive is applied is called the adherent. So this is our adherent 1, adherent 2, and in between we have got the adhesive. Now some of you may be wondering that when you apply the adhesive, how the two adherents are joined together. Now we all of us use adhesives in our day-to-day life. If you see, if a toy is broken, we bring our commercial adhesive from any stationery shop or from any hardware shop and we try to join the two broken parts together. Now how the adhesive forms a bond between the two parts to be joined or two joining parts, that we will try to understand in our subsequent slides. Now this is the bonding mechanism which usually takes place between the two mating parts or two parts to be joined together. First bonding mechanism is the mechanical interlocking. Must I tell you that these types of peaks and valleys will not be available on any surface. Surfaces are usually very smooth, especially in case of polymers and polymer products. Let us take the example of a plastic bucket. You just rub your hand against the surface of a plastic bucket, you will never see these types of peaks and valleys. So this has just been drawn to explain that how the mechanical interlocking takes place. The peaks and valleys will be very small, or sometimes indirectly or artificially or synthetically we have to induce a surface roughness on the surface to be joined in order to make that surface ready for mechanical interlocking or for adhesive joining. That is called the edge preparation or the surface preparation. So mechanical interlocking between the two adherents will only take place if there are peaks and valleys at the surface or open pores and crevices on the adherent surface. So three important things are to be there on the surface if the mechanical interlocking has to take place during the adhesive joining of two polymer or polymer composite adherents. Now what are these three things? First is that peaks and valleys should be present, second is some pores may be present, or third is crevices are present on the adherent surface. Now suppose these things are not present, how to make a joint? What we will do, we will artificially create all these things on the surface. How? By rubbing, or by rubbing the two parts together, or by rubbing an additional maybe sandpaper or any other rough surface on the surface of the adherent, so that these three things or some of these three things are created on the surface to make the surface ready, so to facilitate the mechanical interlocking when the adhesive is applied on this surface. So first important requirement for mechanical interlocking is the presence of peaks, valleys, pores and crevices on the adherent surface. Now if these are present and you have applied a adhesive on the surface, how the joining will take place? The joining will take place or the bonding will happen due to the interlocking or anchoring of the adhesive to the adherent. Now if some crevices are present, the anchorage or the adhesive will enter into those crevices and it will act as a anchorage point and it will form the joint. Or if peaks and valleys are present, in between the adhesive will go and it will form a mechanical type of interlocking between the two surfaces or the two mating surfaces or the two adherent surfaces. So mechanical interlocking is the first mechanism of joining between the two types of composite adherents or the polymer or plastic adherents. Now second bonding mechanism is the chemical bonding between the two adherents. Now this type of chemical bonding, as in case of mechanical interlocking, you require pores, peaks, valleys and crevices. In chemical bonding you require specific groups at the surface which will facilitate the chemical bonding between the adhesive and the adherent. Now what are these specific groups that are required to be present on the surface of the adherent? That we will try to understand. So first requirement for chemical bonding is that you need to have high surface energy or free radicals on the adherent surface. Now when you have prepared your surface, you have made your adherent using any of the techniques for processing of polymers or polymer based composites, you may not be having these free radicals or high surface energy at the surface. Now how to form the joint? For forming the joint you have to induce certain treatment of the surface so that the surface becomes ready for joining. And how those treatments can be done, what are those treatments, let us try to see. Plasma treatment is one such treatment, corona discharge is another treatment, then ion treatment of the surface. These treatments are used to enhance the energy and these add polar groups on the adherent surface. And these polar groups will help us to facilitate chemical bonding between the adhesive and the adherent. So that is a requirement, and if these treatments are done on the surface, we can get a very good bonding between the adhesive and the adherent. So you can see in case of adhesive bonding, the first and the foremost as well as the most important step is to prepare the surface for bonding. If our surface is not prepared for bonding, we will definitely not get a good joint and failure of the joint may take place. So the joining mechanisms can be either through mechanical interlocking or it can be through the chemical bonding between the adhesive and the adherent, but both these mechanisms are only possible, can only happen if we prepare our surface accordingly. In case of mechanical interlocking, simple rubbing of the surface to create different types of surface roughness, different types of pores, crevices, peaks and valleys at the surface. So mechanical type of treatment is required, whereas in case of surface preparation for chemical bonding, we may require corona discharge, plasma treatment or ion treatment of the surface so that we can add polar groups on the adherent surface and the joining can be done. This mechanism that you see on your screen, we have covered in the previous session also, that how fusion bonding takes place. So diffusion bonding, you can see it happens when the chains entangle with one another, and here we see the interface. The black dotted line is showing the interface. So this top one is our first adherent, this can be the second adherent. At the joint interface, the entangling of the polymer chains or diffusion of the polymer chains at the interface will add to the bonding of the two adherents. So partial solubility of the adhesive into the adherent is required. So if we talk of fusion bonding where there is no adhesive, directly two surfaces are being joined, the solubility or the diffusion of the chains will be from one adherent to the other adherent. Whereas in case of adhesive bonding, when we are applied the adhesive, which can also be a polymer, on the surface of the adherent, then this diffusion will be from the adhesive into the adherent. And if you remember, in our previous session we have seen the first diagram for adhesive joining. There was a top substrate, there was a bottom substrate, and there was a blue color adhesive layer in between the two substrate, and between this adhesive and the substrate 1 there was a boundary layer 1, and similarly between the adhesive and the substrate 2 there was a boundary layer 2, and at this boundary layer this type of diffusion has to take place. That will only happen because of the partial solubility of the adhesive into the adherent, that is the chains may have to entangle, or chains may have to maybe diffuse into one another. So this is mainly applicable, as we have seen in our previous session also, is mainly applicable for thermoplastic materials because of the long chain, and when you supply heat, the weak bonds between the long polymer chains, they break, and then the chains can slide, entangle and form the joint. Now let us try to see the types of adhesive joints. You can see very common types of joint configurations are shown here for polymeric materials also, or for polymer based composite materials also. Similar type of joint configurations are used, and just for revision purpose, let us see that what type of adhesive joint configurations or joints can be applied or used in case of polymers as well as polymer based composites. So we can have a simple, most simplistic lap joint configuration. We can have double lap joint, we can see. We can have single cover lap. Basically these are the blue portions depict the adherents. This is adherent 1, adherent 2, or substrate 1, substrate 2. In between black is representing the adhesive. Here also this is the adherent, second adherent, third adherent, and in between we have the black color, 2 layers of adhesive, and therefore we have a double lap joint. Here we have 2 adherents joined in butt configuration, but on top we have a single cover lap layer of the adhesive, and therefore we call this as a single cover lap joint. This is the black color adhesive, and this is double cover lap joint, even maybe more stronger as compared to single cover lap. And then we can have a scarf type of lap joint. Maybe if you can see, the length of the joint is increased if you adopt the scarf configuration. So we can have different, these are not the only joint configurations that can be used for joining of polymers or polymer composite. There can be number of other joint configurations that are possible, but just to highlight that joint configuration also plays a very important role in the joining of polymers as well as polymer composite. This slide has been included in our discussion. Now this is from a research article, that is an updated review of adhesively bonded joints in composite materials by S. Budhe. So we can see the types of adhesive joints here. This is a cured laminate. Now I think by now you understand the difference between a cured and an uncured laminate. So cured is which has completely undergone the process of polymerization and is strong and stiff physically, and the complete polymerization has taken place, that is the product is ready for use. So that is the cured laminate. Uncured means that the polymer is not in a fully cured state and still it requires heat or pressure to fully cure the material. So we can have this black portion is the adhesive again. So we can make a joint in which one laminate is cured, another composite material or laminate is uncured, and we can make a joint which we call as the co-bonding type of joint. Then both the laminates are uncured, the top adherent or laminate is also uncured, the bottom adherent or laminate is also uncured. So this is also uncured, this is also uncured. In between you have the adhesive. We make this joint lap, single lap joint configuration, put it in a furnace or in a heating oven, and we can go for co-curing. Co-curing means both the adherents are getting cured. And third type is secondary bonding. In most of the cases, in case of composites, we will see we will have both the laminates which are in cured state. This is also final product of a process, this is also final product of a process. Both the adherents have been cured successfully and completely, and finally we put a adhesive between the two and we joined the two, or we join the two adherents together or two composite laminates together to form a composite joint. So in between we put the adhesive. Then the last configuration is multi-material bonding. This is called secondary bonding, and we are calling it as a secondary joining technique for polymer composites. And last one is the multi-material bonding. The top adherent, this is a top adherent, this is a composite material, The bottom adherent is a metal, it can be aluminum, magnesium, steel, any other metal, and then we are joining them together with the help of a adhesive. So this is multi-material bonding. So these are different types of joints. There can be other combinations of materials also that is possible. Maybe in some cases we may have to join a composite laminate with glass, which is a non-metallic material. Sometimes the composite laminate may be required to be joined with a ceramic type of substrate, that is different type of joining, and we have to see what are the conditions and requirements required or necessary for making that joint possible and making that joint a good joint. So therefore these are not the only, these are just depictive of the different types of joints which are possible with the composites. So basically, just to revise this slide, we can have a look that we can have a co-bonding where one laminate is cured, another laminate is uncured, in between we put the adhesive. We can have co-bonding or co-curing, co-bonding, one laminate cured, another laminate uncured, in between adhesive. Co-curing, both the laminates are uncured, in between adhesive, then you go for the complete curing of the complete assembly. In between there is adhesive, top and bottom laminate both are uncured, so you get your complete product out of the oven. Then you have secondary bonding in which both the laminates are cured, in between you have the adhesive, and finally the multi-material bonding in which one is a composite material, another one is a non-composite material, it can be a metal or a non-metal, in between you have adhesive, and then you make the joint. So friends, in our previous slide we have seen that what are the types of adhesive joints. Now let us try to understand that failure mechanisms in the adhesive joints. So we can see we can have a adhesive failure. These are the two adherents, the blue color, this is adherent 1, this is adherent 2. In between the black layer depicts our adhesive. Now we can have a adhesive failure in which the adhesive has failed, or we can say the bulk failure of the adhesive has taken place. So that is the adhesive failure. The second is the cohesive failure in which either the adhesive has failed or the adherent has also failed. So adherent failure means that the layers have got delaminated, the joint is intact, but the adherent has failed on the application of load, or the adhesive has failed. So we can see the adhesive failure or the adherent failure, we can call it as the cohesive failure. Then we can have a mixed type of failure in which the adherent can fail, the adhesive can fail, the adherent and the adhesive both have failed, plus there is a debonding between the adhesive and the adherent. So different modes of failure are coming into picture, and therefore we call it as a mixed failure. So basically, to revise, just in the previous session also I have told that in case of a adhesive joint, three types of failures may happen, which was explained earlier also, that adherent may fail, joint is intact. That is the laminate that we are using as a raw material for joining. The laminate has failed, in between two layers have got delaminated. So that is the failure of the adherent. Then there can be failure of the adhesive, that we have applied a thin layer of the adhesive between the two adherent. The adhesive has failed from in between, or the bulk failure of the adhesive has taken place. And the third type of failure can be the debonding between the adherent and the adhesive. But there is fourth, that is a mixed mode. The adherent has also failed, the adherent has got debonded from the adhesive, as well as the adhesive also had a bulk failure. So all three things have failed. The adherent has failed, the joint has failed, as well as the adhesive has failed. But from another point of view, we can have a adhesive failure or a cohesive failure. Now what are the factors influencing the adhesively bonded joints? Just we will have a long list. First one is the types of adhesives used. Different types of adhesives are used for joining the composite materials or the polymers. Properties of the adhesive, properties of the adherent, the two pieces or two composite parts that we want to join together, bonding between the adhesive and the adherent. Now again, the factors influencing the adhesively bonded joints, you can see again the same things. What can fail? adherent can fail, adhesive can fail, or the bond can fail. So the bonding will depend upon the type of the adherent, the type of the adhesive, the type of the joint, the type of the interface that we are developing between the adhesive and the adherent. Again, same points are being listed here: type of adhesive, property of adhesive, property of adherent, bonding between the adhesive and the adherent. Wettability of the adhesive is also very important. Now wettability, we need to have very good wettability. That if you remember, in our first session we have seen an video in which the two glass plates were being joined together. In between, a thin drop of adhesive was dropped from the tube and another adherent or substrate was placed on this plate having the adhesive. When it was placed on top of it, the adhesive spread all across and the joint was formed. So wettability of the adhesive is very important. If the adhesive will not wet the surface properly, the joint strength would be very poor and may not lead to a good quality joint. So the wettability of the adhesive is important. Then the surface properties of the joint interface are very important, and today we have seen that in order to develop a joint, either by mechanical interlocking or by chemical bonding between the adherent and the adhesive, we require or we need or it is necessary to do the edge preparation or the surface preparation. For mechanical type of interlocking, we need to develop pores, crevices, peaks and valleys on the surface, or in nutshell we need to make our surface rough for joining purposes. From chemical bonding point of view, we can very easily say that we need to go for plasma treatment, ion treatment or corona discharge treatment in order to improve the surface energy so that we can bond between the adhesive and the adherent. So surface properties of the joint surface need to be manipulated, need to be maneuvered in order to get a good joint. And then the factors that influence the adhesively bonded joint are the type of loading also, that how the joint is going to be loaded. Either it is going to be loaded under tensile load, or it is going to be loaded under compressive load or under flexural load, that we have to see, and accordingly this will influence the selection of the joining method, the type of joint configuration. It will also help us to decide on the type of adhesive that we are going to use. It will also help us to decide the joint overlap area. So the type of loading will also be a important design parameter which will help us to join or to join the members successfully, or I should say that it will also help us to design our joint properly, that what type of loading the joint is going to bear in its service life. Now finally we come to the advantages of adhesive joints. So we will see quickly that what are the advantages. They are fast and cheap joining technique. The adherents are not affected by heat because we are only applying the adhesive and then we are joining them together. Now some of you may be wondering from where heat is coming into picture. Please refer to our last session in which we have seen microwave joining, we have seen resistance joining, we have seen induction based joining, broadly falling under the fusion joining method or fusion joining technique. There lot of heat has to be supplied, whereas in case of adhesive joining not much heat is required. If the adhesive and the adherent join by chemical bonding, there may be some exothermic reaction take place, some amount of heat may be generated, but the bulk of the adherent will not be influenced by that heat. So the adherents are not subjected to heat in case of adhesive joining, whereas they are subjected to lot of heat in case of induction joining or resistance joining or microwave joining, and we have to do the adequate masking in order to avoid the effect of heat. Then we get uniform stress distribution, which is a challenge in case of mechanically fastened joint. In case of mechanical fastening, we require a hole which will induce a stress concentration point in our joint, whereas in case of adhesive joining, no stress concentration will take place, or the stress distribution will be uniform all across the joint overlap area. Possibility to join large structures, yes, it is a possibility with adhesive joining. Their ability to join different types of materials, good advantage of adhesive joining. Possibility to join very thin adherents, They can make gas proof and liquid tight joints. Adhesive joining has that capability. No crevice corrosion, no contact corrosion, good damping properties. Now lot of advantages are there, because whenever we talk of mechanical fastening and mechanical or metallic fasteners, there are chances of corrosion, whereas in case of adhesive joining, such type of corrosive effects can very easily be avoided. So therefore adhesive joining has got lot of applications, lot of advantages as compared to the other methods of joining. But it has got its gray areas also. Let us try to understand what are the limitations of the adhesively bonded joints. First is, the adhesively bonded joints usually requires extensive surface preparation before bonding. I think it has become absolutely clear, to develop mechanical type of interlocking or to develop chemical bonding between the adhesive and the adherent, surface preparation is mandatory. So the adhesive joining requires exhaustive surface preparation in order to develop a good joint. Pressure may be required during the joining operation. Usually you will see, when we join some household items by applying the adhesives, we keep some load or some weight on that joint so that a joint may be strong and sturdy. That is our household remedy of applying the pressure. But when we are doing the adhesive joining on an industrial scale, many times we may need to apply uniform pressure across the joint interface in order to get a good quality joint. With some adhesives, a long cure time may be needed. Again, coming to our household, if we join a particular toy using an adhesive, we will keep it maybe 6 to 8 hours for complete curing of the adhesive to take place, so that it can form a good joint. So sometimes the cure cycles may be very long, especially in case of industrial scale joining using adhesives, and therefore may not be that productive technique. Sometimes health and safety can be one issue with the adhesives, because they are chemical in nature, and then inspection of adhesively bonded joint is difficult, because we have already seen that it is a permanent joint, and the permanent joints cannot be disengaged. The joint only has to be broken in order to get the two adherents separate. So therefore this is one disadvantage of the permanent joints, that maintenance and scheduled maintenance and other problems related to inspection are difficult. So with this we conclude the today's session on adhesive joining of polymers and polymer based composites. I think in next session we will discuss the joining intricacies in case of polymer and polymer composites, and subsequent sessions will be focused on the secondary processing in terms of joining and machining of polymers and polymer based composites. Thank you.